We are just 2 days away from the start of early voting, and new polling is showing us the state of some key races.
There are some very important races taking place down ballot statewide.
We look at what poll data reveals about the contentious campaigns shaping the story of the Texas primary. Data centers are booming in Texas, but that growth comes with concern.
We want those jobs. We need those jobs. However, we also have to be very good stewards of our water resources.
The new move to track data center demand on Texas water, how the state is pushing for answers. Our investigation uncovers millions of dollars meant for crime victims being withheld by the state.
And then all of a sudden, everybody puts their hand in the cookie jar and just takes it from you. I mean, and when it's the state of Texas, you really can't say anything. You're expected to just kind of just shut up and just take it.
The state's reason and why Texas appears to operate differently compared to other states.
Produced from the Capitol in Austin and airing statewide, this is the award-winning State of Texas.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Dylan McKim, in for Josh Hinkle this week. Early voting starts in 2 days, and there are tight races up and down the ballot. It starts at the top of each party's ticket in the race for U.S. Senate. This week, the Hobby School of Public Affairs at the University of Houston released new polling. They reached out to likely primary voters in each party. For Democrats, their results show Jasmine Crockett holding an 8-point lead over James Tallarico. 12% of Democrats say they're still undecided. Meanwhile, the Republican race seems destined for a runoff. The Hobby poll shows Ken Paxton leading incumbent Senator John Cornyn by 7 points. Wesley Hunt is trailing. 12% of Republicans say they haven't made up their mind in this race. But beyond those races, the poll is shining a light on other important positions on both sides of the aisle. We spoke with Mark Jones, a pollster and professor at Rice University.
For instance, in the Attorney General primary on the Republican side, you have Chip Roy and Mays Middleton, who are battling it out for first and second, and Joan Huffman in a third place, who's trying to get into the runoff. Aaron Wrights is potentially there as well, but he's trailing badly. On the Democratic ballot, there's a competitive Attorney General primary between Nathan Johnson, a state senator for up in Dallas, Joe Jaworski, former mayor of Galveston, and former FBI agent Tony Box. That's a competitive one that may very well just decide on March 3rd which two candidates go to the May runoff.
In addition to the Attorney General's race, Jones says Republicans should pay attention to the race for state comptroller.
In the controller's race, which is an increasingly important position because of the role that it plays in managing the education savings accounts, which were launched by the legislature last year, you have Don Huffines, Christy Craddock, and Kelly Hancock battling out for two positions in the May 26 runoff.
Another contentious campaign is the Republican race for Texas Agriculture Commissioner. Incumbent Sid Miller is trying to win a fourth term, but Governor Greg Abbott endorsed his opponent, Nate Sheets. Capitol reporter Adam Schwager breaks down the race and how Sheets went from supporting Miller to campaigning against him.
Three-term commissioner of the Texas Department of Agriculture, Sid Miller, hasn't faced a challenge like this. Governor Greg Abbott endorsed his opponent Nate Sheets in January, a move that stunned many.
I was blown away.
Except Miller himself.
Oh, I wasn't surprised. The governor's recruited this opponent, my two previous opponents. The governor just doesn't like me.
On the Mark Davis show on 660 AM The Answer, Abbott laid out his lack of confidence in Miller.
He's been an utter failure in his job as ag commissioner.
Do you want to respond to that comment?
Well, I totally disagree, and I've got the facts to back it up. In our exit interview, the Sunset Commission said the Texas Department of all the decades that they'd been reviewing state agencies, the Texas Department of Agriculture is the best-run state agency they had ever reviewed.
In their most recent review, the Sunset Commission said the Ag Department was well managed, but identified several opportunities to provide a firmer foundation for staff to successfully perform. Sheets is the former CEO of a honey company, Nature Nates.
My mission statement at Nature Nates was to glorify God and help you and your family live healthy lives. And so the health of all Americans was sacrosanct to us as an organization.
He says he used to be a Miller supporter, but his main opposition is Miller's chief of staff, Todd Smith. Miller cut ties with Smith as his political aide in 2022 when he was charged with theft and commercial bribery. Smith later pled guilty to the bribery charge in October 2024.
They would have convicted him But he pled guilty, so Sid Miller wouldn't have had to have testified against him. They had subpoenaed Sid.
2 months after Smith pled guilty, Miller hired him to be his chief of staff with a salary of over $200,000. Miller has a different recollection of Smith's legal troubles.
Todd was going to face a George Soros DA, George Soros judge, and a Democrat jury in Travis County. I told him to take the deal. Don't risk it. And he did.
In a statement, the Travis County District Attorney's Office said, in part, "It is not surprising but disappointing that Mr. Miller kept a person who swore under oath that he is guilty of a felony on his team. Whoever wins the primary will face Democrat Clayton Tucker in the November general election. Tucker is a farmer from Lampasas. He is running unopposed in the primary and says he wants to reach voters through an old-style populist grassroots campaign. Despite no Democrat winning an ag commissioner race since 1986, Tucker feels recent changes in the Texas Democratic Party will help his campaign.
I would say the Texas Democrats are getting to their true roots, their historic roots, their populist roots. I mean, look at the new chairman, Chair Kendall Scudder. You know, he's really leading the Democrats back to the way the Democrats, economically speaking, used to be. This anti-corporation, this anti-monopoly, this really economic populism.
Early voting for this race starts on February 17th. For State of Texas, I'm Adam Schwager.
Despite the governor supporting Sheets, Miller is still leading the race. That's what polling from the University of Houston shows. It found just under half of likely Republican voters supported Miller. That's 30 points higher than what Sheets pulled in this poll. But the poll also found that more than a third of Republican voters had not yet made up their mind in this race. Online now, you can see our full interviews with Sid Miller, Nate Sheets, and Clayton Tucker. But that's not all. We spoke to the top candidates in several key races on your ballot. That includes the race for U.S. Senate, Texas Governor, and Attorney General. You can check them out before you head to the polls. Look for the links in this week's State of Texas story on our website. With Texas at the center of a renewed immigration crackdown, one lawmaker is calling for major oversight. The push at the Capitol to rethink the state's partnership with ICE. Crime victims counting on relief instead get letters saying their money is being taken. We investigate why critical dollars are being diverted from Texans recovering from violent crime. Texas data centers could soon face new questions about how much water they're using, the new call for answers, and why it matters for our water supply.